Hey guys, welcome back to Weld.com. Today we're going to be doing some stainless steel fillet welds in the flat and vertical position. So as you can see here, we're running it in the flat already. You'll notice that the travel angles are extremely exaggerated, as well as the work angle. That's because stainless can be deceiving. It's stubborn. It's like a rented mule, right? So when you're running this stuff, you really have to push it where you want it to go and let the rod do the work. It's not similar at all to 7018 on carbon steel. Although it is a drag rod, you have to push this electrode exactly where you want it to go. It doesn't flow as well and as smooth as a 7018 would, and that's because we're using different materials, right? We're switching over to stainless steel. So in the flat, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just exaggerate your travel and work angles a little bit, push it where you need to go, and it should work out fine for you. Vertical, on the other hand, is a completely different animal. So let's go ahead and dive into that. All right, so for 1/8 inch 308, we're running 3/8 plate. I ran 135 amps on the flat position. May sound a bit excessive to some of you all, but it runs really good with the higher amperage. Now when we switch over to vertical, I'm gonna go drastically lower. I'm gonna run at about 89 amps. The thing about stainless is you can't trust the puddle, okay? It's very deceiving. There's a lot of things in life that I trust a lot more in a stainless steel puddle, such as the boss man when he says, hey, we're only working a half day this Saturday.
Hey boss man, I thought we were only working half day today.
12 hours is a half a day. Get back to work. Proctologist when he says, this won't hurt.
Could at least bought me a drink first.
Unsolicited DMs from anonymous women on Instagram. Oh, hi there. I farted after binge drinking and eating Taco Bell at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Not this time, Splatter.
All right, so we can't trust our puddle. We want to trust in technique and our timing. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the sides for about 2 seconds and then just move quickly across the center of the puddle. Remember, we're in vertical, somewhat similar to 7018. The middle's going to take care of itself. For any other process, we're running vertical. The middle's going to take care of itself. We're going to pay more attention to the timing and pay more attention to the sides. So as you'll notice, when I do the vertical, very similar to when I did flat, I'm going to have an exaggerated travel angle. So where with 7018, I'd probably have about 10-degree travel angle. With this, I'm going to be much lower, probably closer to 30 degrees. What I've found that works pretty decent for me is if I hold the electrode holder and I put my pinky just behind it, in this position here, that holds about the exact angle that I need to do this, and it's been performing pretty well. So that's what I recommend so far. That's what's working out pretty decent for me. We'll just go through the joint and you guys will be able to see exactly how that puddle looks and how deceiving that it can be. It makes it look like you need to spend more time in certain areas where it's actually tying in and flowing very well. It's a very thick type of slag coverage, so it's kind of hard to decipher, but like I said, just trust in your technique and your timing and you'll be fine. So you'll notice first off, this type lights up pretty easily. Now notice I'm just holding the sides at a 2-second count, bouncing back and forth. Let's get into a little bit of rhythm and watch your timing. Stuff likes to lay a lot flatter when it's ran wider, whereas 7018 you can pretty much lay it in there pretty smooth, pretty flat. This stuff you got to lay in a little bit wider to get it to flatten out. If you try to run a narrow puddle with this, you're going to have a high crown profile in the center, I guarantee it. Get into a little rhythm. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can kind of see how that slag is telling me something completely different than what's actually happening underneath. Stuff's very tricky, very deceiving. Stop just like I would with any other rod right about the time I get to the numbers, because this stuff starts heating up pretty quick and melting a lot faster. Alright, so I'm going to let that cool until all the redness is gone from that slag formation. I'm going to let it go completely gray. One thing you can do to help speed up the process, Mancub kind of taught me this, you hold that cold piece of steel up there from your chipping hammer and it kind of pulls some of that heat out, right? Remember, I don't want all those colors in there. So I got to let this stuff cool down before it interacts with the oxygen. If I just start chipping the slag away, I'm going to get a lot of those deep purples and blues. Okay, so what you probably saw during the arc shot is a very high crown in the center of this weld. Like I said, it can be deceiving. When you start welding that up, it looks like everything's pooling up in the center. It will if you go too slow, but if you just trust in your timing and your technique and just keep going through the joint the way you know that you should, you're not going to have any problems. As you can see, it laid in there relatively flat for the width that I was going. I do have a relatively narrow bead profile compared to the size of the puddle that I was running. It's just a different look. You got to experience it for yourself. So just trust in your technique, trust in your timing, run some practice pieces, and you should be fine. So again, same technique, same settings, still running 89 amps. Just bouncing side to side. About a 2-second pause on each side. And you really want to kind of push that weld up into that corner. It doesn't flow like steel, it's a completely different animal. You got to force it where you want it to go. You can see how that slag's kind of getting real crowned, real high up in the center. That's fine. Don't freak out. That's just what it does. Trust in your technique, get your timing, rhythm, spacing down. You shouldn't have any problems. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can see, I mean, you guys probably saw the same thing in the slag formation that I did. High ropey crown, just ugly looking, right? It's no representation of what the bead profile is going to look like when it's done. Chip it off. You got a good tie-in on the sides. I don't have a high crown weld. We eliminated the color after the wire brushing. Everything turned out pretty decent. It's a completely different animal than welding on carbon steel with a stick electrode. So hope you guys learned something. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. I want to send a special thank you to Lincoln Electric for donating the electrodes for us to use today. They sent us out some 308 and 309 rods. So we should be doing a 309 video coming up for you shortly. Until next time, make every weld better than your last. Cut that out. Cut that. Cut. No.
We're done now.
She knows though. She knows.
She does now.
Yeah, she does now. So does 10,000 other people.